A new governor has been appointed at Leicester Prison after a damning report on the jail. Today it emerged that inspectors found some inmates couldn't be accounted for. They described the city's Victorian jail as violent, chaotic and grim, and they said conditions there were getting worse. Well, our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball has been looking at the details. I mean, very strong language. Just how bad are things, or were things?
It's clear, I think, the inspectors were pretty appalled. They made a surprise visit to Leicester Prison back in the autumn. Today they published a long list of concerns. Violence and intimidation were rife, they said, with over half the inmates feeling unsafe, and a very high level of assaults on staff as well. And they said there was no strategy to tackle that. Overcrowding was branded unacceptable, with prisoners unable to get basic necessities like bedding, like clean clothes, and spending far too much time locked in their cells. And the Segregation Unit was described as terrible, so damp and so decrepit that the inspector said it should be closed down immediately.
And those concerns about security too?
Yeah, astonishingly, they said that officers often didn't know where the inmates were. In addition to that, drugs and alcohol were rife. They said self-harm at Leicester was 5 times as high as the levels in similar local prisons. And I've been getting reaction today from one campaign group who are putting this all down to a combination of that overcrowding and staff cuts.
I'm very concerned about this report into Leicester Prison. What we've seen are levels of violence rise by a significant amount, 3 times the levels of violence you'd find in neighbouring prisons, 5 times the levels of self-injury. And that's very concerning because when these people are released from prison at the end of their sentences, they won't be properly prepared for life on the outside, and that will lead to more crime. In the meantime, we're seeing people being assaulted, we're seeing people harming themselves, and that's got to be a concern for everyone.
So what's the prison service had to say about all of this?
Well, we've had a brief statement today from the National Offenders Management Service. Their boss says the performance of Leicester Prison had deteriorated unacceptably, and that can't be allowed to continue. He's now appointed a new governor at the jail, and he says that new governor needs to make rapid improvements.
Sounds like he does, or she does. Jeremy, thanks very much indeed.